In this beginner's guide, I'm going to show you how to draw a full comic page easy without using computer software, but done all by hand, step by step. So before you can draw any comic, you need three things, and these include the storyline, the page and the panels, and lastly the images and drawing. So let's go through these. We have the first one, storyline. So the storyline is what your comic is about, but under storyline we have three subtitles. We have general concept, and we also have unfolding of scenes and dialogue. So what are we talking about when we talk about general concept under the storyline? So the general concept is a synopsis, so a summary, a perfect summary, a concise summary that can tell a reader about your comic just in a flick. So this, I can give an example of when you, let's say you open Google, you go onto Google and then you type in your favorite movie. On the right side of your screen, and when you scroll down, you see details about the movie, distributors of the movie, the director, and so on. So you look at, there's a part which shows what the movie is about. It gives you a short story just to keep you interested and make you want to watch. So that's how the general concept is. So for the storyline, you first have to figure out the general concept. What is the story going to be about, and so on. Then you're going to move on to unfolding of scenes under storyline. So the unfolding of scenes is, how is this scene, the first one, going to lead to the other? How is this other scene going to attach to the following scene so that everything flows very well and makes total sense? Then we go on to dialogue. So dialogue under the storyline still. So what are the people going to be saying in this scene to keep the reader engaged and know what is going on? In these scenes that are unfolding, how am I going to be able to communicate to the reader what is going on and how it tethers to the next thing? So that's how dialogue goes. So now let's look at the second thing that you need before you draw that comic, and that's the page and panels. So the page and panels, you already know what the general concept is, you know how the scenes will unfold, and you know how the dialogue will go, how it's going to make all that sense for the reader to follow and understand exactly where this is going, the story is going. So now the page and panels, what we mean is a page. So I'm going to open this up. So this is the schema I'm going to use. So when we talk about the page and panels, we're simply talking about these. So roughly here, I'm going to do this. I'm cutting out here. So this is a panel. This whole thing is a page, as you may already know. Then this, when I cut over here, this is one panel. Then I'll cut over here too. And we have another panel. And then I can cut here. And so we have this first panel, we have this panel, we have this panel, and we have the last panel down here. So when we talk about page and panels, we're talking about how are you going to arrange your scenes in these panels, on the page and in these panels. That's what we're talking about. Let's move on to imagination and drawing, which is the last thing you need before you do that comic. Before you draw, you already know what the general concept is, how the scenes will unfold, and you know what the dialogue would be to make it make sense for the reader, and then you know how you're going to set the scenes out in the panels and on which page the scene will come, whichever scene. And then now you have to come to imagination and drawing, which is what we'll be focusing on in this video. But leave a comment if you'd like me to touch on another part, a part that I've already talked about, but maybe you'd like to know in detail about it. Just leave a comment down below, and yeah, I'll be sure to read them, and we can make a video for sure. So we have the panels here, and now we're talking about images and drawings. So what do we mean when we talk about images and drawings? So images, you're looking at what can you imagine. So you already know you have a scene, you already know the story of the comic, you know how the scenes will unfold. So in this particular page, in this particular panel, what is going to happen? What scene is going on? So you can think of it like this. Try to imagine what you'd like the scene to look like. That's what it is. But then there's one thing you have to know. What I want you to know is that whatever scene you think of, let it be a nice one, at least for you. You need to feel courageous about it. You need to feel like you really would like to draw that. The more tethered, or the more you like your own scene, the scene that you want to put across, the better it will come out. That's what it is. Because as comic artists, all we do is that we just bring out what we want. You can bring it out. No one will tell you, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be, because it's coming from your head. You see what I mean? So let's move to the images. So the images, I like to do this. I like to imagine. I'll sit down and I'll imagine. And already, as you can see here, I made this. I imagined all this. I placed all this here, but I'm sure you can see that they're not all in bold. The drawings are sketch-like, because I just wanted us to run through this so that you could easily understand, and I can easily explain every step that I'm going to be taking you through when we'll be talking about drawing the actual things in the page, how to draw a full comic page. So I just did this already so that it will be easier for me to even explain. You get more from this video than me drawing and then explaining. It might not come out as good. So let's move on now. So to imagine, think of a scene. How would you like that scene to unfold? How would you like it to unfold? And here on imagination and drawing, this is where we look at perspective also. We're looking at perspective. So how the image is going to be just while you're imagining it. And then you're looking at the shapes. How is it going to be shaped? How is this going to look like this? And when we talk about shapes, is where we bring in these. When we talk about shapes, we're going to be drawing this comic page using these shapes. We're going to be using a square, apart from square, we're going to use a circle, and then we're going to use a rectangle, and then a triangle. Now, what do I mean here? What I mean is this. You can actually draw a person just from this. You can draw clean. So let me show you. You can do it this way. And that's how we're going to apply. This is how we're going to draw a full comic page. So let me just show you this. And this is, we're still on images and drawings. We're still on images and drawings. So first of all, you imagine, okay, this is how I want the image to come out. And then you now draw. And this is how we're going to draw it. So this is the part that we're going to focus most on, because this is exactly what our video is about. It's the drawing full comic page, and the drawing part is the main goal here. But you can still leave that comment so that we can tackle the others in other videos. Yeah, but this is my format, really, how I do it. So how can we draw a person here? So the strategy is, we're going to do this. You can draw that. That's a head. And then this is the trunk. And then You can bring in this guy. It's gonna be like this. See that? Triangle, rectangle, circle. Then if you want, you can put more rectangles. If you want, then more rectangles. See, simple as that. We have drawn a person. Just like that. We didn't use the square, but we could have used them. We could have said circle, then square, and rectangle, rectangle. Then we can put in that guy, triangle, and then we can put rectangle, rectangle. You see that, right? Simple. So you can do it just any way, but these, once you master these, then you're done, and it's not even hard. Now let's move on to the part where we apply these. We're going to apply these, and what we're going to do here is I'm going to use this guy to draw through what I already did, to draw through the images, and then we're going to use the pencil to show or to indicate these basic shapes: the rectangle, the square, the triangle, and the circle. So now what I want you to imagine, that you're the cameraman. Right now you're the cameraman, you're the one controlling the camera. So it's all about you knowing where am I shooting the camera, from which angle am I capturing this scene, and that's how you imagine it. So you imagine it at that angle, and then you bring it out. And one thing I want you to know is that imagination, you can only imagine, so much. You can't imagine 100% vivid image. No, it's not like it's a portrait that you can actually look at and then you're drawing and it comes out perfect, almost 90 or almost 100% accuracy. Let's just say, because no drawing is 100%, but maybe 90% accuracy. It's not like that. When you imagine, I like to think of it as you get 50%. So out of 100, you see the image 50%. 50% of an actual portrait that you would be looking at if you were drawing a still life drawing. So that's how I like to see it. So you, in imagination, instead of getting 100%, like when you're drawing that portrait, you only get 50%, because the rest of the other 50 is blur. So when drawing, it might not come out exactly as you imagined it, but it will at least have that resemblance that you need. So don't put pressure on yourself when you're drawing. And what I would like is if you can grab your paper, pencil, and basically here I'm just using plain papers. I'm not using anything fancy, just plain paper. So we can start to, you can also start drawing as I am drawing, and I can show you the shapes very well. So let's figure this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the shape, and then I'm going to show you the actual drawing. I'm going to draw through. So here what I did was I followed the same strategy that I just taught you, even though I skimmed through it, the storyline, the page and the panels, and the images and drawing. Although the storyline, because here I was kind of picky, I was trying to bring out images that might be difficult, a little bit difficult for beginner to draw, so that you can easily bump up your skill. And even if you're not a beginner, you could watch this video too. So let's get into this. So first we're going to start with the shape. So we're going to do this. So the first shape, we're going to start from him in the middle. So if you want to bring out this image, what do? Circle. You see that? What basic image can we use? We bring a circle. You can think of it as Loomis method, but it'll be different here. So you bring out a circle. So then, and we bring out a circle. This helps you with this. These shapes help you with this. Understand this. They help you with perspective. They help you with the proportion. That's what it is. Perspective, proportion, and centering of your work. Because I remember it was really hard for me to draw something. I would draw something. Well, I would imagine that I want to draw something. Let's say this is a panel. I would imagine I want to draw something here, but then it ends up here. So that's what we want to avoid here. So when you have centering, you will be able to draw it where exactly you want it to be. Now by centering, I just mean, I'm not saying you draw it in the center, I mean you draw it where you please. So if you want to draw it here, then you center it here, and so on. So, sorry about that. So, now let's go on. So you draw a circle, and from this circle, we can draw, we want to draw the trunk, so the chest and the abdomen. We will do this. You seeing that? Simple. What shape are we using? Rectangle. That's it. And then what do we have now? So we know that the arms are going to come out somewhere here. So we bring in this shape, and then also here we bring in that shape. Pretty simple. It looks like shapes, but then you can add in the meat. So that's what we're going to do here. You already know, you already have perspectives here. So you can draw that. You're now drawing your image. Now see what it will look like. See that? You're making sure there's proportion, because the shapes themselves will tell you if there's proportion or if you'll be out of proportion. So you see, for the head I've drawn, it's done. That's the head. That is the head. The head is done. Now we move on. The head is done. All you have to do is add in the detail, but otherwise you're done. Okay. And then what about the trunk? So the trunk, we do the same. You add in the details, because you have already been directed by this rectangle. You know where to go, what to draw, because you already know, you imagined the anatomy already. It might not be the perfect anatomy, and don't beat yourself up. It will take some learning, but you can draw. See that? Then you can bring in this, bring in the body. You see that? And so on, so forth. Then you bring in the arm. Just like that, you follow the shapes. The shaping system tells you and gives you proportion. You see that? You don't want to have a big head, small body. No. You want things to be in proportion. Okay, you can add in whatever you like now, just to make it look good. But otherwise, shaping is done. So we have these shapes, circle, rectangle, and so on. So we do the same even here. We have this guy. You can't see him very well here, but I imagine that there's a guy here standing. So we're going to do this. And then we bring in a rectangle for the body. Then we bring in another long rectangle for the arms. So since he's standing behind the other guy, then you bring in the nose. So this is, it's an easy one to keep everything in check, proportion and all that. If you can do this, I think it will be very easy for you to draw very well a full comic page with ease. So now I'm putting in the face. That's a big nose, kind of like a nose mask or something. So if you can do this, then you're good. Okay. Then for the trunk, we do the same. Just like that. Like that. Then also you can see this. See his bones there. You can see his chest. Just basic things. It's not. Don't beat yourself up. You can be drawing while I'm drawing too, so that you can see how flexible this is. And then you can bring in the arms. Bring in the arms. Yeah. Like that. See? From these shapes here. This one guy. See circle? Makes that. So again we come to this guy. We have this circle here for his head. But now I want you to notice one thing. Perspective. I mean proportion. So his circle is not going to be this big. I've just made a mistake here. His circle should be this big. Can I rub this off? It's quite difficult. Okay. Please just ignore the circle there. But this circle is what I want you to see. Notice that this circle is smaller than the other circles. It's smaller. Why is it smaller? And this trunk is smaller. It's kind of a tight rectangle. Why? Because of proportion. So this tool helps you work with proportion, and you can see it here. So we're going to draw his hair now, because we already know what he looks like. Now these proportions in real time, you don't have to show them as clear as I'm showing them. I'm just showing them because I want you to see what exactly I'm doing, but you shouldn't let them be so clear. So have him in a mess. Here, chin. See? Very easy. You have him positioned. Have him positioned very well. Like that. And also for this arm of his, I'm sure now you've gotten the gist of the idea. So you see that? From your imagination, put this together and you see. Just put the shapes together from what you have imagined and you'll be able to come up with a good scene. Just like that. We have successfully drawn him. We have successfully drawn him. So we move on to the others here. Again, proportion small, pretty small. So we can draw. I imagine that he's looking up Of course, I've told you the imagination might not be super good. It has to be a rough estimation of what you want to draw, because it will never be perfect as it will never be perfect as you just imagined it. There'll always be some error, because like I told you, imagination it's about 50% of something that you can really see with your eyes. So again, proportion, you see his body rectangle is smaller than this rectangle, smaller than this rectangle, but it's bigger than this rectangle. So we close it out and we draw the body. Okay. Then, and here also I followed this system. See, for the shoulder. Now we go on to this guy, next guy. So the next guy, we also do the same circle, but just imagine this guy's circle is almost as big as the one in the middle, maybe even bigger. So let's move on. Just drawing what you imagine. So you can draw with me, you can follow along with me. You can also draw as I draw. You just, so that you get the feel of using this method. You can also draw the circle and exactly what I'm drawing. And how did I do it here? I believe you can guess. There's this. It's faded, you can't see it. Now you can see it. This is what I followed. This was his trunk. So, I go again like that. For the arm again, shoulder and arm, that's the guy who will fall. So, so that's it. Then you can add some flavor if you like. Okay, so we're done with this first panel. You see, all in proportion. Now this would be very difficult if you aren't using any sort of trick. Unless you have years and years of experience, it won't be easy to bring it out like this. So we move on to the next page. Panel, which is this one. Simple. Cut through here. Cut through. Cut through. Cut through. So again, here we'll do the same thing. So background here, we have a lady. She's standing there. So we're gonna catch this, catch her body, and then bring in the face. Simple. And then we bring the neck and the body. So her arm here is part of the body. Like that. Then we have these ones up front here. So let's go ahead, bring in the face. So circle. From this circle we can draw her face from what we imagine. We have the proportion, we have the perspective. Now we can just draw her face. Just as we imagined it. Okay. Okay. That simple. And then for her body, bring this in, because we see that our body is together with the arms. So arm comes in, but in the same line as the body. So neck, her clothes. Done with her. And then the man she was talking to, right here, you can pick him out like that. Much bigger circle than hers, meaning perspective wise he's closer to the camera. So now we draw. I told you already, you are the cameraman. Well, I didn't mention that, but you are the cameraman. What I already told you was that you are the, oh, I said you're the camera, you are the director and the cameraman. So you're the one to say the story goes this way, and you're the one to pick out what angle the camera is shooting, and that means what angle are you satisfied with drawing your character in a scene. That's it. So his body, not very hard, but you see the circle. Yeah. So the crowd in the background, simple. Just do that. Creating crowd. Since the video isn't about that, but the main thing is you get this. What we're trying to show here. See? Again, the body. So we move on to this second last scene. Use this for the palm. Just make the palm different. Okay. Okay. Now let's move on to the second last scene. So second last scene again, you circle. Around the circle. Simple circle. And from this circle we can draw her face. So you know what? In this comic, I was thinking about kind of like an occult. So this occult has some people who kind of like have powers in a way. So they can do things, they can lift people up. Like you can see what she's doing in this image. That was what I was thinking about when I was drawing this. So now, so she walks in, sees him, like kind of like she has to take him out or something. So she walks in, she sees him, and then gets angry. Probably was the husband or something. Chilling in the possibly a club or something. Then her body comes here. But notice that also that arm is here. The whole arm. The body is just full. What she's wearing. So you draw just like that and then you'll be good. A little bit of what she's wearing. And then use a rectangle here. Triangle. We haven't used triangle. And square, but there are instances you can use them. We just haven't found one. Okay, she's angry, she squeezes like this her hand and everyone starts floating from nowhere. So we have background people, so it's a complex image. Background people floating. They're floating. Now for the background people, here's not really our main focus. So I won't touch into detailed background. Our main focus is for the true characters. So you see people being lifted, their hair going up. Like that. Hair going up. Bottles that they were drinking from also levitate. Being thrown up, individuals. So if you'd also like to see a video about how to make all this, the background people, how we can, just let me know. We'll make one. No problem. So yeah. Then the chair there. It goes up. Everyone's going up, thrown up. And we have that. drawn up just like that. So now we can move on. So she was angry, she does that, and then we have the last scene. So last scene is right here. He's in the air flying. Man is in the air flying. So let's pick it out. Head. See that? The head. Then from the head we can tell his hair. I imagine that his hair is flying. But remember, we don't want it to get out of this range that we've set for ourselves. The circle is our range. We don't want the image to escape that. The image has to be safely maintained within the circle. Like that. He's being lifted. He doesn't know what's going on. So this is the man that she came here for. And you're now flying up. So then for the body, so you see his hair. This is looking something else. Then for the body, we go again, according to how we imagined him. For the hand, so this is where complexity comes in. I want you to see something. Here I'm going to use a rectangle, square. Good. Now we've found a square. Square because perspective. The perspective of the jacket. Now circle here again. Circle here. Why? Because it's the hand. It's small. It just needs a clear room for just clear room for a little view. So we can use a circle. Doesn't finish there, it's closed. Then here, a little bit of a rectangle, but square a little. So again, bring him out. There. Again, circle for the hand. Simple concept, simple strategy, and you're good to go as an artist. Simple. If you're beginning, you want to draw, you can do this. I had no one to teach me when I was coming up. So I want people not to struggle. Then here we can put this. Now this is where perspective and proportion comes in. Proportion and so on. So when you look at this, the proportion here, we can't draw a box or a rectangle, a long rectangle. Here we'll draw it in a space kind of bent. So what I mean is we'll draw it sliding like this, because from the character's appearance it won't look realistic if we draw it straight, whether it's square or rectangle. It won't, because he's floating and then we're having perspective, his legs are going back. So then we can draw with this rectangle that has been manipulated to look in a specific direction. So we have it looking diagonal. We have it in a proportion perspective scene. Then we can bring in the body. funny. Suit is flying up. Very fine jacket. And then, yeah, this rectangle we made gives us his body. This is it. This is his body. And then for the legs, we can use a square. So we're using shapes that will help us bring out that proportion. And then have another shoe there. See the perspective? So again, here we would do this, and then we would make that. That's the type of rectangle we'll make because proportion. And then again, we could have done something different. We could have done this. We could have made a triangle. Oops. We would have made a triangle for this. So just for the perspective, that's why I've said we have to use these circle, the rectangle, the triangle to make these perspective be clean. So, and yeah, I guess so. He's also elevated. So the story here is these guys part of the occult, and then they're waiting for the job to be done. You know, it's standing outside. The scene is warm and everything going on. They're staring up at a building, I suppose. That's what I was thinking when I was coming up with this. They're staring at this building. Then in this building, one of their members, the girl here, she walks in and she has to do a job. She has to deal with this man who might be a potential lover of hers. So she walks in, she looks at a lady here having fun with, be it her husband or the fiance or just a boyfriend, having fun with them, or maybe someone she has a deep connection with. Could be anyone to her, but with a love connection. So she looks and then she gets angry, and they are waiting outside to just see the outcome. Now the outcome I was thinking was, after she does what she did here, she used the powers, everyone was floating in the bar or the nightclub or wherever this place was. She did that and everyone was floating, including him. He's floating now, and while he's floating, she's going to throw him out the window, and then they'll see the whole scene happen. He'll break out of the window and he falls straight down onto a vehicle, his own car, and he slams on it. That was what I was thinking about. So now you understand what I'm talking about when you talk about the story and how you think you can manipulate it and so on. So yeah, that's all a scene. And the last thing I want to add here is, if you want more videos of this kind, you can let me know. You can even let me know what kind of content you'd like to see next, what kind of comic video you'd like to see next. But this is kind of like main things that we will be doing here, and we will also from time to time draw portraits. I'm kind of in those phases too. Portraits and comics, we can do that too. You can ask about anything. I'll be sure to make a video once I just see a lot of comments and a lot of traction on that subject. So this was it. So I hope you had fun, and I hope you learned something, and I hope you were following as I was doing this, so the next time you can very well do it yourself, DIY. So please, thank you very much for watching this, and I'll catch you in the next one. See you there. I got you.